Hey, what's going on, Luciano? It's been a little while since I've done a video outside of Rugby League Live 4. I feel like these days my channel revolves around Rugby League Live 4. But with the news of the new NRL team coming in, the Redcliffe, well, it's not the Redcliffe Dolphins. They were the Redcliffe Dolphins. I'm not sure what they are now. That is the Dolphins, I guess. It sounds stupid, I know. But I guess for the point of this video, it doesn't really matter what they're called. We know they're called the Dolphins. So we're going to be doing 5 players that the Dolphins can sign in 2023 when they come into the comp. Now, obviously, there's players like Brandon Smith, Cameron Munster, Kalyn Ponga. Some of them are on contract. Some of them are off contract. But I feel like for the most part, a lot of these big name players, they're locked up long term. But that doesn't mean they can get out of contracts. But at that point, I may as well just be talking about any player. Like, oh, well, they should just sign Nathan Cleary. Or they should just sign James Tedesco. Now, I feel like the main player that everyone's been talking about is Cameron Munster, and I'm sure he probably will end up at the Dolphins, or there will be some players who are under contract who end up at the Dolphins. It's bound to happen, and it's bound to be some big name player, but I'm not going to be talking about that because it's just too big of a what if. Like I said, if we start talking about Cameron Munster, where do you draw the line? You start talking about the players I just talked about, your Tedescos and Clearys and all these sort of guys, because if one's off contract, why not sign all of them? So purely just for this video, we're going to be talking about players who are off contract at the end of 2022 and are available to sign with this Dolphin side when they come into the comp in 2023. Now, like I've said at the start of this video, I'm trying to keep this somewhat realistic. Now, I don't know if some of these players are going to be realistic or not, but they are players who are definitely off contract. If they want to throw big money at them, I'm sure that they're a chance to sign. Anyways, we're about to get into this list, but before we do so, I just want to take the time to say, if you do happen to enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook is Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok, is Mr. Luke and YT. And let me tell you, I've been uploading a fair bit on TikTok. We just hit 1,000 followers. So go ahead and give me a follow on that. Also, use Ask for Merch. I delivered. Link is in the description below for the spread shop that I've made these shirts through. I made the designs, but you order it through them and they get delivered by them. So go ahead and check that out if that's up your alley. Also, a big special mention to the sponsors of this video, Manscape, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, all across Australia and New Zealand. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MrLuke at manscaped.com. Now, I've been on the lookout for a new razor to use, and honestly, I've never used an electric one because, well, I can't really grow a beard, so I've never really had a reason to have one, but I do need something for the other areas. But I wasn't sure about using an electric trimmer. But let me tell you, the Lawnmower 4.0 works. It's as simple as that. And I'm a bit of a rookie in this field. I've been in the Rookie of the Year calculations for the Dally M's rather than the actual Dally M medal itself. At least in terms of this sort of stuff. But thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces grooming injuries, my nether regions are as safe as Nathan Cleary kicking a conversion from the sideline. The Lawnmower 4.0 charges wirelessly, is waterproof so you can use it in the shower, and even has a couple different lengths you can cut to. So I might even have to try it on my actual hair, seeing as I can't get to the hairdressers. Fellas, it's time to make trimming your time and not a chore. Make me time the best time and go ahead and try the Lawnmower 4.0. Like I said earlier, I have a discount code which is Mr. Luke, which can be used at manscape.com. The link is in the description below as well as the discount code. Guys, can't stress this enough. Support the people who support me, and more importantly, support Manscaped. Rightio, that's the intro done and dusted. Now it's time to get into this list. So the first player we're going to be talking about is Blakeley. Now you might be thinking, Blakeley, there's so many other players who are off contract. I think off the top of my head, I think Brandon Smith is off contract in 2022 officially. I know there's been a lot of talk about him going, a mid-season swap or being released from his contract this year and going to the Bulldogs or going to a team like that. But he is officially off contract. So you could look at him, but I've sort of thought he's probably going to stay at the Storm or he's going to go to another team potentially in 2022 rather than wait for his contract to finish. Another one is Reid Marnie. I saw that he's off contract and he's also the same age as Blakeley. So my first thought was, oh yeah, Reid Marnie, but I feel like he's likely to re-sign with the Eels. Also, I'm trying to think of players who wouldn't absolutely break the bank. So Blakeley, he is a good solid first grader. He's not an absolute superstar. He's not really in the contention to play for State of Origin, play for Australia, play for New Zealand, anything like that. He's just playing first grade football. He's very, very solid. Obviously, he's got his brother Jaden at the Knights, and I think he'd be a great little signing for the Dolphins in their first season. I believe he'll be about 25 by the time this season starts in 2023. So he is super young, and I think he'd be a great signing, and you're going to get a lot of good years out of him. And also, like I said, I don't think he'd break the bank either. Now, in terms of putting money into a side, especially when you don't have any players. I know they have the location of being in Queensland. I know they don't have like a specific location, but they also have the Wayne Bennett draw card. But apart from that, they don't really have any players to say like, oh, come and play with this guy, or come and play with that guy, to sort of bargain with some players. So getting a guy like Blakeley, I think you could throw a little bit more than what the Sharks could offer, and I think think you could sign a guy like him and you get a really, really solid player, and you could build a club, not necessarily around him, but whoever is your marquee guy, Blakeley will help out big time. So I think he'd be a great signing for them, and I think by the time that season comes around in 2023, I think he'd sort of be hitting his prime. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as well. The fact that, say like, I don't know, a guy like Kieran Foran or someone, you can say like, oh, he's got great experience, wouldn't be on much money, maybe they should sign him. But by the time 2023 comes around, he's going to be, in his 30s. Same with guys like Benji Marshall and that. Cody Walker's another one. You look at them, you're like, oh yeah, throw the bank at them. But you don't want to put all your money in guys who are like 33, 34. That's why Blakeley is perfect, because he's still at the start of his career, yet he's so solid. And by the time, like I said, 2023 comes around, I think he'll establish himself as one of the best hookers in the game. Speaking of marquee players, the second player I'm going to be talking about is Joey Manu from the Sydney Roosters. And I was talking about guys who are somewhat realistic. I think Joey Manu is one, because at the Roosters, he's never going to get that marquee money. We know the marquee money is going to be going to your Luke Kearys, your Sam Walkers, your James Tedesco's, but it's not going to be going to a guy like Joey Manu. And we all know Joey Manu is good enough to attract that marquee money, and I'm sure plenty of clubs are going to be throwing huge money at him, and I think this Dolphin side is definitely going to be one of them. Now, there's been a lot of talk this offseason about where is Joey Manu going to end up. Is he going to make a mid-season swap? Is he going to swap positions? Well, I think a perfect destination for Joey Manu is at the new Dolphin side, because they don't really have any players, so there's no like, oh, well, we've already got a fullback, we've already got a halves player, we've already got centers. You can throw big money at him, and if other players come on the market, oh, well, Joey, we can chuck you at fullback. All right, we've actually got this really gun fullback. We can play you at 5'8". I just feel like he's someone they can throw big money at, and you can just shift him around into whatever position you need him to play. And I think that's why he's perfect, because he's so versatile, and also he's going to be a gun in every position that you play him in. Joey Manu is just an out-and-out footballer, and we've seen his time at the Roosters. Whenever he gets shifted in new positions, he always excels, and I feel like he's ready to make the step to the next level of footy. We know he's a really good player. We know he's the best centre in the game, but can he be, say, the best fullback in the game? Can he be the best 5'8" in the game? Now, it is going to be very tough, but you don't really see too many centers getting this marquee money. So I feel like for Joey Manu's long-term future, I feel like he will move positions, and I feel like signing with the Dolphins, I feel like that's where he can get the most money, if I'm being honest with you. In terms of lifestyle, maybe he doesn't want to move up there. Maybe he wants to go to the Warriors. Maybe he wants to do something like that. But just in terms of a player that you can sign and you can really stamp your authority as a new team and say, look, we got this guy. Joey Manu is one of them. So I would definitely be looking at signing Joey Manu. I know all other bloody 15, 16 clubs are going to be looking at him, but in terms of realistically landing them, I think the Dolphins are a great chance. Now, moving on to the third player, another marquee player, I'm going to be talking about Viliami Kikau. He is off contract at the end of 2022, and there's also been a lot of talks about him right now, about shifting to the Cowboys, I think it was. There's probably some other teams as well that are missing, but Kikau is a guy who's already been talked about being moved on from the Panthers, and that was before they'd even won the premiership. There's also some other guys like Charlie Staines, and I think it was Leota and a few other guys like that, but Viliami Kikau is the marquee guy. He's the one who's going to attract all the money, and personally, like, I'm a Bulldog supporter. Kikau, he's a good player. I don't know if I want to throw huge money at him, but I feel like he is a guy that teams would be willing to do that for. We've seen him be super damaging. Even in the grand final, he was fairly good. We saw last year's grand final in 2020, he wasn't very effective, but 2021, he was much better. And we've seen him sort of come off the bench and start a few games. We know he can be damaging, though. We know he can be a great player. Whether he's a great player in the Panthers system and outside of it he wouldn't be, I don't know. That remains to be seen. And it looks like we will be seeing it at some point, because it looks like Panthers are willing to let him go out of all of their plays. They can't keep everybody. They've already lost Kurt Capewell. I think Kikau's going to be the next one to go. And I feel like he's a player you could let go. You can sort of replace him. But if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking at Kikau. You don't want to be paying $1 million or anything for him, but in terms of landing a big name player, a guy that a lot of people know, trying to get in a player that the fans can support. I know at the moment he's making it full of himself, and he's not winning a lot of fans over with his antics on social media, but he is the sort of guy who can produce those highlight plays. He can score those fancy tries. He can put on a big hit. He can do all that sort of stuff. So Kikau, I think he'd be someone I'll be taking a look at, and also the fact that he is off contract, I think he's someone who you could actually land. We're not talking about a guy like Dave Fifita or someone like that. You can actually land a marquee forward here in Viliami Kikau. You can play in the second row. You can probably argue you can play in the prop position, but for second rower, I think that is a position where they need to go all out on, as well as the spine, but I feel like your second row is also a big one, and I think Kikau would be a great signing. Also, I will just say, in terms of getting value for money, I feel like his antics after the grand final, and as good as a player he is, I feel like he is a player that a lot of teams will definitely take a look at, but they're going to sort of be looking at his performance from the grand final the previous years, and even just performances throughout the year. He's sort of a guy who does have the tendency to go missing, yet he's still a big name player. So I feel like your top teams, your Roosters and all that, they're not going to be looking at him going, yeah, we could bring him in. And also the lower sides are probably going to look at him and go, yeah, no, do we take a risk on a guy like him? Whereas the Dolphins, they have a clean slate. They can just bring him in. So maybe he won't cost as much as what you would imagine. That's sort of just what I'm thinking. He would be a good value for money signing, maybe. Now, moving on to the fourth player of this list. That player is Christian Welch. Now, the Sharks, they just signed Dale Finucane, and there was a lot of talk about teams like the Tigers and a few others like, why didn't you sign Dale Finucane? He's such a great leader. Same can be said about Christian Welch, but not only is he a good leader, he's also got age on his side. He's not super old, and he's got great experience playing for the Storm. He's come from a great team. He's from Queensland as well, so I think that's going to help in terms of luring him over. Also, the fact that Wayne Bennett is the coach there as well. So he's gone from Craig Bellamy. You could go to Wayne Bennett, and you probably wouldn't lose too much, you know what I mean? Because I feel like being at the Storm, the draw card is Craig Bellamy and some of the players around, but mainly Craig Bellamy and the Storm system. Whereas if you got Wayne Bennett there, he's had success pretty much everywhere. I know he hasn't won a premiership everywhere, but he's had a lot of success at all the teams he's been at. And Welch would have had experience with him in State of Origin as well. So I feel like that is a great draw card for this Dolphins side, the fact that they do have Wayne Bennett. Also the fact that he is from Queensland. I think he might have even come out and said that he was open to moving to the Dolphins. Another one's Regan Campbell-Gillard, who's come out and said he'd be open to coming and playing for them. But Campbell-Gillard is someone, I don't know if you want to throw big money at him. Like I said, it does depend on money for a lot of these players. If like Christian Welch is someone you could pay maybe overs for, he could bring some other players with him possibly, but also just he adds a lot of leadership to that side. He adds some direction to the side, and even in terms of just him actually on the field, not only is he good off the field, but on the field, we've seen when Queensland don't have him, they play terribly. He comes into the side and they end up winning. Same can be said for Melbourne. When he plays, they win. When he doesn't play, they struggle a little bit. We saw that in the final series. When he wasn't there, they definitely struggled. No, a lot can be put down to Brandon Smith also not being there, but Christian Welch seems to be the key factor in terms of whether teams win or lose whenever he's involved in the squad. So I think Christian Welch, I think he's super underrated, and because he's super underrated, I think you could get him into the side for a pretty decent little contract, and you wouldn't have to be throwing super crazy money at him, especially the fact that Wayne Bennett's going to be there, and he's from Queensland as well. So there's always going to be the draw card of, yeah, I want to go home. I guess it's sort of the same factor that the Broncos have had for a long time. Get all these Queensland players who just want to go home. Oh, well, now there's another third option. Dolphins are cashed up, I may as well go there. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of players who see the Dolphins as an attractive offer. So I think Christian Welch will definitely be interested in this move. And like I said, I think he might have already said it, and I think he'd be a great signing for them. I think this works both ways. Christian Welch gets to go home, gets to play under a great coach like he has his whole career, and also the Dolphins get a really, really good player. So I think this works for both sides. Now moving on to the last player, and this one is a little bit of a smoky. This one's a little bit of a strange one, but I was looking through all of the off-contract players, and there was a player that stood out to me. He's hot and cold, but I think he could have a lot of potential, especially kind of similar to what I was talking about with Blakeley, sort of moving into the prime of his career. And we talk about all these explosive players. We've got Kiko on this list. You got you guys like Penguin Jr. and Dave Feeder and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like a guy who has the potential to be right up there in terms of those game breakers is Luciano Leilua. Now, I saw the documentary with the West Tigers, and I was really impressed with Leilua and just his talk on the field. And honestly, just his game in general, I'm really impressed with Leilua. And I think the fact that he plays for the Tigers means that he's not going to be loyal to the Tigers, you know what I mean? I know they took a chance on him and signed him from the Dragons, but I feel like if a big money contract comes to him, and even just an attractive offer like this new Dolphins side, I feel like he'd be interested to go there, and especially play under a guy like Wayne Bennett. I feel like he could take Leilua's game to the next level. And I know you could argue that's always been said about the Leilua boys, whether it's Joey or whether it's Luciano, but Luciano is super young. He's definitely hitting the prime of his career, especially as a second rower, a young second rower. He just has all the attributes that are really good in 2021, and hopefully by 2023 the game doesn't completely change again. I know every couple of years it just seems like it's a whole different game, but Luciano Leilua, he's pretty quick, he's pretty agile, he's got a good offload, he's got good ball playing skills, and he seems like a winner who doesn't play on a winning side. It's a weird situation for him at the Tigers, but like I said, the Tigers aren't a side that, I mean, they can't even sign anyone themselves, so why would players want to stay? So I feel like Leilua is a guy who, if other clubs came calling, I feel like he'd be likely to sort of move to another club. And I also feel like he's someone who also wouldn't be attracting huge money. So I feel like he is a guy who is a realistic target, and I think he could actually sign, and like I said, I think Wayne Bennett could get the best out of him. He seems to do it with a lot of these young forwards, and I think he would be no different. So I think he'd be a great signing for them. But like I said, it's a little bit of a weird one. It's not someone that when I was thinking about the Redcliffe, God, I keep saying Redcliffe. When I was thinking about the Dolphins, I wasn't like, oh yeah, Luciano Leilua. I was sort of thinking of your Christian Welches and your Joey Manus, even like your Cameron Munsters and such. I wasn't looking for Leilua, and I don't think anyone else was either, but he is a guy who is off contract in 2022, and like I said, he wouldn't break the bank, and you need those sort of players who, you know, are going to sign for, you know, 400, 500,000, and then play above their wage, and I think that's what Leilua could do. So, look, I just threw his name out there. Is he going to sign? Who knows? But I think all five of these guys would be great great signings for them, and I think the money would be right for them as well. So, look, I can see these transfers happening. Whether it happens is another thing, but these are ones that I think are somewhat realistic. Anyways, those are my 5 players. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the players? Do you think they're realistic? Do you think they'd be a good signing? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, that's where I'm going to wrap up this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to use the notification bell. Don't rely on the sub boxes. Use the notification bell and never miss any of my videos. Also, go ahead and give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on my team for the most part. My Facebook is Mr. Luke, but everything else, including Snapchat, including TikTok. Like I said earlier, I hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. So go ahead, give me a follow, give me an ad, do all that sort of stuff. Also, check out the merch. It's in the description below. You can see a design on the screen right now. You guys have been asking for it. I made it. I delivered. Go ahead and get some of your own. Also, just before we finish the video, another special mention to the sponsor of this video, which is Manscape. I have a 20% off code. It's Mr. Luke. Go ahead and use it. You get free shipping, and like I said, you get 20% off. So considering how good Manscaped actually is, the fact that you get 20% off and free shipping, I would heavily suggest that you go ahead and check it out and buy this. It's such a good deal. Anyways, that's where I'm going to end this one. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Stay tuned for more content on the channel. Plenty of stuff to be talked about, especially with this new team. We also got plenty of Rugby League Live 4 stuff to be made as well. So stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.